So I had a subscriber ask me the question, how many knives should a man own? Well, I think there are five. I think there are five basic types of knives that every man should own. And what I'm gonna do is talk about those types and give you my top recommendations for each one. So let's get into it. All right, so the first type of knife that every man should own is certainly an EDC or everyday carry knife. And whether that is a folder like these over here or a fixed blade, people do both. And it's kind of up to you, your preference. But the idea is that every day you have at least a blade on you to cut boxes, to do basic tasks, cut paracord, all kinds of stuff that I just feel like I'm always doing with a knife every single day. And so most basic are these. Now these are ones I recommend here. If you're wondering to the question, how many knives a man should own? Well, sky's the limit on the actual number, but really it comes down to these five types. But EDC is certainly one of them. Benchmade Bud Gout is one of my favorites because it's lightweight, kind of like the Spyderco Manix 2. Both of these are lightweight blades, and I've carried both of them for a long time. Or even a Paramilitary 2 by Benchmade. Obviously, this is more of a kind of a traditional pocket knife. It doesn't have a clip on it, but this kind of Swiss Army knife. Got the Stinger, Off-Grid Stinger EDC, and the Big Brother right here. So Off-Grid Knives, excellent company, excellent blades. And then you've got like this Buck Range Elite, brand new blade from Buck Knives. So Magna Cut steel on that. And then you got an excellent blade also from Off-Grid Knives here. This is the Scorpion V3. So I think it's also, Magna Cut on there as well. So I would recommend any of those, okay, for a folding knife. I'll move those other way here. And talk about some fixed blades. So a lot of guys more recently are going to a fixed blade EDC knife. So this is an Off-Grid Knives Sidekick here, excellent knife. So the idea with any of these is a Bradford Guardian. Here's the 3, here's the 3.2. Actually, I'll just take them out of the sheath so you can see. 3.2, also excellent blades. Here's the Azula, and the Sidekick. So these are excellent blades right here, but a lot of guys like the stability. For a lot of these, they're going to be full tang knives. They like the stability of an EDC fixed blade, and these are all excellent options here. Some of the sheath, depending on how you want to carry it, you can get a Kydex for the Bradford Guardian series, but here's their just their leather. Of course, you put your belt through that right there, and then the other one's just be more like a Kydex type sheath on here. And so you can carry this, you can put a belt clips on this any kind of way. Sometimes people just tuck this into their pants somehow, whatever. So there's there's a clip on that. All kinds of ways to carry a fixed blade, but sometimes they're just a lot more fun. And this kind of leads into another type of knife, but it does give you that extra strength with the knife, and that could help in certain aspects. I mean, a backup kind of bushcraft camping knife or a backup kind of tactical self-defense knife. So it could help with either of those as well. So first type of knife, EDC. So a second type of knife is a knife for tactical or self-defense purposes. So it's always nice to have a knife that is specifically geared for one of those things. And there's characteristics to each kind of type of knife here today. So like with the EDC that I just showed you, with that, you're typically going to have a stainless steel blade on there because it's going to be on you and you don't want that to rust. But there are also some characteristics to kind of a more tactical style of knife, like the Shadow Beard, Scallywag Tactical Shadow Beard. This is actually what I'm carrying today on me. So I'm going to put that back on me right now. Or something like this Mamba V3, Off-Grid Knives Mamba V3. Here's an really old CRKT, Columbia River Knife and Tool, and Carson design on here. But, this you can obviously see more of a tactical, self-defense purpose for this kind of blade, Tonto blade on there. A lot of times they'll have a clip point, that kind of thing. Or this Montana Knife Company War Goat, amazing blade made in the USA. Awesome blade. Get your finger in there. So it really kind of is a perfect little companion. And this size would be like an EDC size, right? You could clip that on a pocket belt, something, and be a great EDC self-defense kind of tactical purpose knife, like right there. So that would be nice. Or a larger one. These are just examples, guys. But a larger one here. So this is the SK5 cold steel. So I've obviously beat this a lot over the years, but something like that. And for any of these, if you have recommendations that I'm not mentioning in any of these categories, please let me know. But the idea is that you want to be prepared. We want to be providers and protectors. And to be a good protector sometimes means that you need to be a dangerous man, a good man, but a dangerous man. And you need to be able to protect yourself and others, your family and others, if they're in danger. And you may be in a situation where they don't allow firearms somewhere, or you can't bring a firearm somewhere, and this might be what you have with you. So just an idea here, but certainly this is a great second category of knife to have, is some type of tactical or self-defense knife. So the third type of knife that every man should have is some kind of bushcraft, camping, or survival knife. And that's what these are here. So you're going to have some characteristics to these kinds of knives here, and a lot of them will have a 90-degree spine so you can throw some sparks, and even a lot of these come with a ferro rod on there, like these here. Got some other ones over here too. And so, you can start a fire with it. So it's going to have some characteristics, and the way the blade is designed is also going to be conducive to bushcrafting, camping, survival, that kind of thing. So, I've got, this is a Beavercraft here. Again, it's going to have a rough or a sharp 90 on there, so that's a nice blade. I've done video reviews on a lot of these BPS knives. It's a great blade there. So this is the Off-Grid Knives Backcountry. I haven't cleaned a lot of these, so I apologize about that. The Mora Garberg, I should say. So again, here's another Mora. This is their Bushcraft series here. It's actually one of the first knives I ever purchased. But I like this one because it's full tang. And that's the other characteristics for a lot of these kinds of bushcraft knives, that they're going to be full tang. Like this SE6, excellent blade there. So, and my favorite, here's my favorite, if you're wondering, it's this one, Scallywag Tactical. This is the Wonder. Love the sheath on there as well. But the Scallywag Tactical Wonder, again, it's going to be full tang on there, and you can tell I've used all these, right? I mean, I've used all of these here. So any of these blades would be good options. Just my recommendation, obviously. But so, again, the biggest thing with these is you're going to be able to, it's going to be full tang, so you can beat on it, you can baton, right, with it. You can, a bigger one like this, you can do some chopping for sure as well. So chopping, you can baton with it, you can start fires with it, all of those things. These would be good options for a kind of bushcraft camping survival knife. So fourth type of knife that every man should own is a hunting and fishing knife. So, I mean, obviously it's going to be tough to get a knife for both purposes, but a hunting, maybe I should say hunting and fishing knife. So obviously just a basic fillet knife is great for fishing, or you can use something like this. This is a really nice, I really like this one a lot. This is a Silver Stag bone and fillet. This is a deer meat for dinner edition here. So they take obviously part of the antler and they ask you, are you right-handed, left-handed? They kind of make it somewhat custom for you. But I like a fillet knife like this that's pretty, it's not too flexible. Some if they're too flexible, I just don't like that as much. I like to have control over the tip of the knife as I'm doing some filleting. So that's an excellent blade for fish, that kind of thing. And then, I really like this one from Benchmade. So this is the Saddle Mountain Skinner knife. So there's a lot of detail with a knife like this. So kind of having your thumb right here, but really nice for skinning, getting the hide off a deer, that kind of thing. So I think an excellent, nice looking blade too. So yeah, Benchmade Saddle Mountain Skinner. And then one that I've had for a long time that I really like is this White River Knife and Tool. Right here, this is kind of a skinning knife. When we used to do meat rabbits, this was the knife I used pretty much exclusively for doing tons of rabbits because it's not too big. Great skinning knife, sharp. So just an excellent overall. And this is probably one of my favorite knives as far as just the ergonomics. If you're going to have an amazing ergonomic knife, Is that the right way to say that? It'd be this right here. It just kind of falls into your hand. Huge finger choil right there. Just an excellent, excellent overall blade. So again, I'll try to drop some links for these things down below. But anyway, so certainly I think every man should have a knife that is suitable for hunting and fishing. Again, you may not do much of that yourself, but as a guy, you need to know at least how to and be able to get out there if you need to, provide for your family somehow. Then having a knife that is suitable for that purpose. So that's number 4, hunting and fishing. So the 5th and final type of knife that I think every man should own is going to be more related to your interests and your specialty. So for example, if you do like to do some like camp kitchen, camp chef type stuff, that's what these knives here are for. So processing food would be great. I love this one here from Off Grid Knives, the Grizzly V2. Excellent kind of camp chef, and I've got a video making camp stew with that. But some little kind of cleaver-ish type knife or something. Any of these would be good for that kind of purpose. Also, if you're into throwing knives, if you like to throw knives, these would be good for that. If you want to have a chisel knife, so more a chisel knife. Again, these are all specialty type knives. Obviously, a multi-tool is going to be part of that package too. So, Leatherman, Gerber, something like that would be good. Victorinox boning knife. So this is great. Maybe I should have added this with the hunting. Yeah, I probably should have hunting, fishing category. But yeah, there's a boning knife, Victorinox, that I really like. Not expensive either. Not expensive. And a kukri, right? So I can't forget a good kukri. So you see that whole knife in the picture? So I got a video on this. Pretty amazing. It's weighted forward here at the big belly for chopping. So again, all those are more specialty types of knives, depending on the kinds of activities and things that you enjoy doing. And you might have other interests, like whittling or diving or something like that. And obviously there are knives for all those kinds of activities. Guys, I hope this has been helpful for you today. And if you have other suggestions on whether individual knives or types of knives, please drop those down in the comments below. But thanks so much for your support for us and for our channel. If you've already done so, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to our channel. And we'll see you on the next video.